Hello once again to another episode of the Engine Room podcast featuring Pablo Wozblanco, BUGA Luis, and myself, John Cornforth. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the golazos, the penalty shootouts, the upsets, all the drama from the quarterfinals, plus a semifinal preview. Pablo, say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully my connection is keeping up and that you can hear me all good. And if it cuts out during the pod, then I apologise. But I think we're all good for now. But yeah, like John said, loads of upsets, loads of drama actually in this World Cup so far. So happy to be back again, and should be a good episode.
Yeah, BUGA, say hello and kick us off with Argentina, Netherlands.
Okay, the pressure to talk about Messi first. ¿Cómo están a todos? It's once again a pleasure to be here in the Engine Room. I think it's like therapeutic, is that how you say it? for us three to just spat out all of our opinions about football and yours as well. So let's head into right away the very first matchup of the quarterfinals, and that is Argentina versus Netherlands. So look, this match is potentially the most stress-driven game I have seen in a while that doesn't involve Peru or doesn't involve Barcelona. Because I think for me, Argentina, I just want them to win. Here in South America, I don't know about other countries, but here's like, who do you want to win? Argentina. Who do you want to win? Argentina. Just because Messi deserves that. Messi deserves the World Cup. And
everyone is the golden boy, right? Messi he's the sweet little baby-faced angel of the football world, right? You have the flip side with Ronaldo, and you have his fan base, of course, but everybody loves Messi.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, everybody loves Messi. Even like the general public loves Messi. Like even I have never seen, like, for instance, my mom was like in the penalty shootout, and like my dad as well, and like
same. I'm getting text messages from my mom, my Irish Catholic mom from the middle of the Midwest America, almost 70 years old, saying "Vamos Argentina" during these penalty shootouts. Exactly.
Oh, my mom's the opposite. She can't stand him.
Oh no!
No, she's a Ronaldo fanboy.
Don't ask questions. Just yeah.
And like that's what I mean, right? It's Messi. I don't know. You already said it. Around the world, in South America, like I say, it's just such a bright spark for motivation and a way for people to get into the sport. And I think that in this game against the Netherlands, he showed that. He's showing once again in every single game that he wants to carry this team forward. And like Pablo made a good, a good analogy to Messi of 2018, 2019, where he just simply had Barcelona on his back, and he's doing the same with Argentina this time around in this tournament. Against the Netherlands, I think that the matchup was very close. Particularly Argentina started the game very well, but then Louis van Gaal, doing what he does best, being a tactician, he said, you know what, forget the triangulaciones, forget the quick passing, forget the nice football. Let's just lump it to our two huge guys up front, Luke de Jong, Wout Weghorst, and that's what they did best. And even Messi, after the press conference, was like annoyed because he was like, they talk all about this, they play good football, but they just lump pelotazos. They just lump.
I was gonna ask about that because I saw Messi kind of going at Van Gaal there. I know he did the Riquelme celebration. Yeah. Did you guys catch that story?
Of course.
Yeah, the Riquelme celebration, and that goes all the way back to like the late 90s and early 2000s with Van Gaal. Basically, I don't want to say screwing over Riquelme, but putting him in a position where he couldn't perform at his best. Anyway, I did not look into what was said afterwards, but I did see some of the images with Messi kind of chirping at Netherlands bench there. What was shared there?
Well, the Netherlands apparently for South American media, particularly, once again, I need to explain this. South American media, like ESPN, the main hub is Argentina. So I watch in Peru, but my commentator is Argentina. Is from Argentina. Yeah. So that's how it works. Right. They have like the rights for all the countries. And particularly, of course, it's going to be with a little bit of bias, but they say how the Netherlands were talking up the game, like, we can just take it to penalties, we can win. We take it to the goalkeeper. Yeah, I can totally save a penalty from Messi and things like that. And that's kind of what annoyed the Argentinian players. And throughout the penalty shootout, some things that it's not getting caught, because you see that picture, right, of where the Dutch players were lining up, and the Argentinian players were like, or once they won, they were looking at them. So that thing is particularly a little bit of not throughout the entire course of the game, right? What I mentioned, the background stories behind it, but also because during that penalty shootout, and I caught this in TV, I don't know if you did, a lot of the Dutch players were going up to the Argentinian players and saying stuff in their ears, like their players, not the goalkeeper, the players.
Yeah,
like,
on their way up to the penalty spot.
They would walk like 10 meters to them, and they just keep talking. And that's normally you don't see something like that.
No, I actually, I'm glad you called that out, because I that was not first on my memory, but now that you've brought that up, that's not normal. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen it to that level. It's not uncommon to see some banter between the goalkeeper and the person who's going to be taking the penalty, right? And sometimes in the open play, when a penalty is given, you'll see some of the defending team start chirping at the person who's going to take the penalty. We've seen that for Barcelona and others. But at the international level, when it gets to a penalty shootout, it's typically much more respectful. Both teams are lined up in their areas, usually arm in arm, very focused on what's happening. There's not a whole lot of chirping back and forth. I do remember, it was Argentina versus who was it? Was it Uruguay?
No, it was Colombia.
Who does the dancing?
Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia. That's what it was. Baila ahora, baila ahora.
Yeah,
and dance now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember that. So it's not unheard of, but to this level, I think Netherlands took it to a disrespectful level, I would say.
But I mean, for me, it's just that's the game. I don't get mad with it. That's kind of what the game. That's part of the game, in my opinion. So when Messi says, like, for instance, Van Gaal, I don't think he respects even his own principles because he wants to play good football. It's like, dude, that's, if you're losing, you gotta lump the ball there. If you had that in your arsenal, you would totally do that as well. So I don't feel that's a negative, or that's something you can really point towards Messi or towards the other nations. And particularly, once again, when it comes to talking shit about somebody else on their ear, that's what it is, right? But that's what I mean. It's like, that's particularly how the Netherlands get back into the game. They got a little bit more of scrappy. They were not the naranja mecánica. They were not the orange clockwork like we see before. Then the free kick. What do you think about the free kick that they managed to equalize on?
So I thought that was very clever. And here's the thing: I saw a clip later on. That's not the first time that Weghorst has done that. He's done that for his
Wolfsburg
Wolfsburg. Thank you. I was seeing the green jersey with the Volkswagen logo, and I couldn't get Volkswagen off my tongue there. Thank you. So he's done that before. That was planned. That was not I don't think that was an in the moment thing. I think that was going to be their set piece whenever they got a free kick in the area like that. So very clever play. I appreciate it. I think Argentina just thought they had it won, right? They're not the only ones who blew a lead here. We'll talk about more on that in a minute here. But Lionel Messi getting a goal, getting an assist, you'd think that would be enough late in the game. Netherlands, 83rd minute, sneak one in, and then, what was it, 11th minute of stoppage time before they equalized? I mean, one of the matches of the tournament. It actually, it wasn't until penalties where I went, wait, hold on. Lionel Messi might get knocked out here. This is actually real. I've been enjoying this match so much. I forgot that my emotions are tied into this, and I really need Messi to go on into this tournament.
But you know what?
It was a fun one.
I think the difference is that, for instance, we've seen penalties in Japan, Croatia. We've seen penalties where else? In Spain, Morocco. I think the differences are that the teams that like kind of finish better the games were the ones that won the penalties. Like, for instance, Japan, Croatia. Japan were like, we don't deserve to be here. We should have won this before. This is our first penalty shootout ever in our history. They lost it. Spain, Morocco. The more the game went on, Morocco is like, okay, we're taking it to penalties. We can go through. And Spain are like, we're in penalties. And Argentina, Netherlands. I think if the game would have ended right there with a free kick, they would have lost. But the second half of them in extra time, that half was superb. And I think they finished better emotionally. And that's what ultimately drives them to the penalties. And this was maybe the Netherlands equally were good. And this is the first time we saw a penalty shootout that was like equal in terms of mentality, because we just saw Emiliano Martinez the save he did to Van Dijk. That's normally. I've heard once a podcast where they were talking with Asmir Begovic. You remember the goalkeeper was in Chelsea, in Bournemouth. He was talking about how people normally always say, "Oh, that's a good save." They go like, "Oh, that's a well taken penalty that could have been saved," and the goalkeeper says, "No, you can save stuff like that. Like the goalkeeper can also have a very big impact." And this was a good shot and an amazing save, and that's rarely something you see. Like, for instance, I'm not gonna say screw over Livakovic, but in Japan, Croatia, or in Croatia, Brazil, we're gonna talk later. Some of the shots were okay, but the saves were okay as well. But this one from Dibu Martinez, they were insane. Like, they were really.
Yeah, how do you not love Diego Martinez and his antics? I mean,
Dibu.
We were just talking about Netherlands and their tomfoolery, as they say. But for me, Martinez, he keeps it in a world where it is psychological warfare on some of these players. He's living in their head rent free, as they say. Like, it's. I love that level of play, because for a keeper who, for a lot of the game, is not involved, he finds ways to influence the match.
Yeah, and he's always.
I appreciate his style.
His mind is always like in the game, and there's difficulties to stay away from. From this side, I thought one of these two teams were going to reach the final, and because Brazil just leaves me with a lot of questions. They're so good, but we're going to talk about Brazil. But the thing is that Netherlands and Argentina, for me, a game like this propels you to work even harder for the next one. Like, when you have a game like this where you go right down to the wire, you've tasted defeat, you're almost there in defeat.
Yeah,
that has to give you some endurance to see you the next game out. And that's something that, for instance, I don't know, at France, they haven't done that. You know, I think games like that, they really push you forward. And in a World Cup, in a tournament, personally, the way I see football is the run of form, everything. Yeah, it matters, but it also matters how far you run. It matters how much you fight that last ball, how much you go into the other opponents and like beat him shoulder to shoulder. Things like that, it matters. And I think these two teams show that they could get like dirty if they wanted. And I feel that just gives you an extra edge when it comes to World Cup moments. And I think that game between Argentina and Croatia, for instance, that's going to be a dirty game.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that, because I actually have some different thoughts on how these matches are going to impact Argentina. But we'll circle back to that when we get to Argentina versus Croatia. For right now, let's move on to Brazil-Croatia, because that was a wild one. I mean, Neymar's goal late in extra time, you thought that was it. You thought that was going to be Neymar's moment, carrying Brazil into the semifinal, but no, didn't happen. Croatia go through on penalties. BUGA, back to you again. What were your thoughts? What were your takeaways on this match?
Look, this is still a shock for me. It's still a shock for me. It was a shock for my dad. I don't know if he's hearing me. He doesn't know that much English, but that's not mine. What I mean is that he was mad. Like, he's a Brazil. He went to the Maracanã, I think, for the 2002 World Cup. After Brazil won it in Japan, they came back and did like a tour. He went there just for the tour. You know, he likes Brazil. And he was mad because Brazil just it has to be one of the biggest. I said it. I called it. Remember, I said if Croatia beat Brazil, it's the biggest upset we've seen so far in the World Cup, and that's honestly the biggest upset. It is. It really is, because Brazil, they just beat Korea Republic, and everyone was saying, "Oh, this is too good. This is too good." But at the end of the day, I think Croatia won it in the midfield, because they managed to, like, basically the best analogy I can put is that Brazil were like a pair of scissors, but the scissors at the point is like a curve. You know, it's not like the rounded,
like the rounded safety scissors.
Exactly, they were those scissors. Like, they were scissors, but they were not like the pointy scissors. And that's particularly what I feel Brazil were. And the thing is that that's
just listening. Pablo slowly holds up a pair of scissors. Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that's what I mean. Like, but it wasn't because of Brazil their own. I think Croatia did a lot of that work as well. I mentioned as well also in a preview that we did on TikTok how Croatia is Brazil had never faced a team like Croatia that can manage the ball and like manosearla, like really take the ball away from Brazil and just put it around, play it around in their faces, and Brazil cannot do nothing about it. I think Tite got it wrong. I mentioned a long time ago, from the start. Remember, I told you that he should play three midfielders. Like he should play three midfielders, and that cost them completely. It cost them completely because they couldn't get the ball back. And I just gotta say, Croatia is the best nation I've seen play around with the ball since Spain in 2010. The best. Like they play with the ball. It's insane.
Modric, Brozovic, Kovacic, they are midfield maestro doesn't even describe it. Like midfield maestros want to be these guys. That's how good.
The best midfield. So like probably France's midfield if Kanté and Pogba is back, but they don't play the ball like these two. They're just
and the experience too. The experience you have, Tchouaméni's playing great football, but he doesn't have the experience. It's the composure on the ball. It's the decision making. Modric, Brozovic, Kovacic, they're not doing anything fancy. Very little in terms of skill moves. It's a dip of the shoulder, a ball roll, a step over is maybe the fanciest that they get. It's making the right decision at the right time, and it's doing the simple things incredibly well.
Yeah, and the thing about this is that they're doing it in like the minute 118 of extra time, and they're playing the ball, and I think that's something that Brazil just couldn't handle. And like I was mentioning, they couldn't get the ball back. Like Casemiro had to do all the job. Paquetá was always attacking, and I think that sometimes to attack, you don't. This is the best way that I explain it, and football is not FIFA. Like in FIFA, when you need to attack, you put your strikers, spacey wingers, don't care. You put Dembele as a center midfielder or you Bale as a defensive midfielder. You don't care. But in real life, that doesn't work. In real life, you need to sometimes take a forward out, put an extra midfielder because that will get you there. And I think that someone like Bruno Guimaraes could have been helpful. Even Fred, I think, could have been very, very helpful in this game earlier. Fred came in like in extra time. He came in extra time when they already scored the goal 1-up. It's like Tite stuck very much to his plan, and I think that ultimately that cost him a bit. I think that he went, okay, who am I going to take out of the attackers? Neymar, Rafinha, Richarlison, or Vinicius? Who do I take out? And I think he should have taken out Vinicius not because he's bad, but because the team would have benefited a little bit more. And ultimately, massive, massive humiliation for Brazil. Massive. I think Neymar, in contrast to Messi and Ronaldo, maybe has one more World Cup. What do you think about that?
Oof, I heard Dani Alves talk about that on Instagram after that. Neymar might have one more run in him, that Brazil football needs Neymar. I'm very skeptical because as we've seen in this World Cup, Brazil consistently very strong in the attack, a lot of players. So you got to ask yourself, where does Neymar fit in 4 years down the road when you have Rodrigo, Vinny Jr., Richarlison, and others all in their prime? Where does Neymar fit in? Could he make the squad a la Dani Alves? Potentially.
He'll be 34.
Is he going to be this? Say that again?
He'll be 34. It's not that old. Like Messi 35 and Ronaldo is 37.
Well, here's the thing. Making it to 30, I'll say, and I don't mean to be stereotypical, but for Brazilian attackers, they do have a bit of a stereotype of getting that last big contract in their late 20s and going, this is great. I'll be on the beach if I'm not playing. So Neymar has avoided that up until now. It's up to him, we'll say. Because you have seen Luka Modric, Dani Alves. There are older players that have stuck around.
I think he'll be there because what it means for Brazil not to have someone like Neymar is massive. And when we take a look at what has Neymar actually won with Brazil, he has only won the Confederations Cup in 2013, dude. He wasn't even there for the Copa America. Like, Neymar must be killing himself. And here's a twisted take for you guys. The Neymar that we see playing that number 10 position, that's not the best Neymar, in my opinion. The best Neymar creating game, that's not the best Neymar I've seen. Is left wing Neymar finishing chances. That's the best Neymar I've seen in Barcelona and in Brazil of old, in the World Cup of 2014. That Neymar was the best one that I've seen. Not the one who drops deep and creates game for others. I hate that Neymar. And that's where I really look at this Brazil side and go like, that's not what you need, because you can have players like that. That you can have a Paquetá who can do that, who can run into the box, who can create some chances. You can even ask someone like, I don't know, you bring in Bruno Guimaraes, we're saying, to create from deeper. But they are missing that player. Brazil didn't have that player that goes like, okay, I'm gonna get this game, I'm gonna score this goal. He did it in the extra time, you know. But at that point, Neymar was already focused on making the goal. But when we're talking about playing through the entire game, I think Neymar needs to be closer to the finishing area more than creative side of the game. I think in Brazil, my dad was saying, Brazil in the last 6 penalty shootouts, they haven't won. They won 1 of their last. And Argentina, the opposite. Argentina have lost. Argentina of the last 6, they have won 5 and lost only 1. And Brazil had never lost. Like Brazil, when they reach extra time, they never lose. But when they reach penalties, that's when they lose. So like if they won it in extra time, it's a long time that they actually lose it. And Croatia, like I was pointing out, I think we have to be honest. I think it's a strategy or something like that. The way that Croatia can pull the game to extra time, they haven't lost extra time since 1998. They've been able to put Croatia haven't lost since 1998. Croatia have, I think, had 8 extra times in the World Cup, and they never lost 1 or some crazy thing like that. And in penalties, they always score at least 2 or more. It's like I think it has to be like some sort of strategy, dude. They must be saying like we can pull it to extra time and we can win it. And that's why I'm scared of Argentina, because honestly, Croatia has been a team that's underrated. And
pump those brakes, because I got thoughts on that too. We can't get there yet. We still got to talk 2 more quarterfinal matches before we get into Argentina, Croatia. I know we all want to get there. Let's jump over to Morocco, Portugal. Folks, is it time that we get over the narrative of Morocco being a Cinderella story? I went back and looked at Pablo's preview going in the World Cup. 6 matches, 6 wins in qualifiers. In this tournament, they've beaten Portugal, Spain, Belgium. They drew with Croatia. They've only conceded 1 goal, and they scored it on themselves. Mm-hmm. So is it time that we actually remove the narrative of this being a Cinderella story?
The manager is doing a great job. I think the manager has only had, 6? He has only had 4 months in the job, and that's insane.
Yeah, he had, I think, just a couple of matches, 2-3 matches before the World Cup started, something like that.
Yeah. And I think the main point is that, like Pablo mentioned, tactically he's insane. Like tactically, he's been able to grab defensively the whole squad and put them very organized. I think that the main thing that we have to mention is how even without their best players, they're able to provide. Like Mazraoui wasn't there. The other center back, Roman Saiz, went out. Agert went out. And all of these players that come in, they perform to a high level. And that's something that you have to put down to them. They're a very physical side. They are very well organized. The level, I think, of these sites that normally, a decade ago, they would be, let's say, tactically sound. They weren't as good. At Japan and Morocco, they know their organization down to a T, and that's what I really think propels them to a thing like here. When you mention about, is this still a Cinderella story? I don't know. I don't want to go and jump into France, Morocco just yet, but the reality is that I don't know if it's down to Morocco, but also down a little bit to other teams. And there must be a key that we're missing as to why it's not that simple to bring Morocco down. And
let me jump in and provide a stat here, BUGA. 26% possession. That's what Morocco had versus Portugal. But
they're doing a Leicester.
What's that?
They're doing a Leicester City.
They're doing a Leicester City. They really are. They really are, because at no point in time did Morocco feel like they were really under pressure, like they were about to cave. Every other team in this tournament that we've seen give up that amount of possession, particularly late in a game, it seems like the walls are shaking. They're about to give in. But Morocco, so sturdy with such little possession. You said it. They're tactically, they know exactly what their role is. And I think they are approaching it to where they know what to expect from the match. So they're not panicking when they're not getting possession. And when they do, they're so creative and so cheeky on the counterattacks, particularly on the wings. It's so hard to keep up with them. They're one of the more fun teams to watch, honestly.
Yep. I think Morocco 100% has the best defense, and France has the best attack. And that's going to be the best. That's going to be a really, really nice watch to see how how tactically they can match each other out. But I think we should also mention a little bit about Portugal. What's your take on Portugal? Because I think this Portugal side, after winning to Switzerland, how they did, I was expecting them to play a little bit more freely. But I also have to agree that I feel Switzerland kind of didn't help them with their homework, because like Switzerland pressed so high up, and I don't get why they put the line so high up, and that left Portugal with plenty of space, and with space they're deadly. Without it, we see how this have ended. So what's your take on Portugal?
I think they did not rise to the occasion. I think mentally they were weak. There was a lot of ball watching. There was a lot of who's going to step up and get a goal for us. I think Gonzalo Ramos' stock dropped dramatically in this match. I mean, he was the next Ronaldo. He's going to be a huge signing and this and that. And nope, wrong. That's not happening now. Ronaldo himself, I think, did not come with the right mentality. I think, like I said, too much ball watching, particularly late. You'd see balls served in, decent services into the box, and people are just standing around and going, well, that wasn't right to my feet. Well, that wasn't right to my head. So they had one or two chances, but when you have 74% possession and only get 3 shots on target, that's a problem. That's a huge problem when you have the likes of Bernardo Silva, Fernandes in the midfield. Even Leao came on and was just lackadaisical. I was yelling at the screen, like, what are you doing, man? It's World Cup finals here. So the attitude, the commitment didn't seem to be there for Portugal.
I think I'll be honest, I think they already saw themselves in the semifinals. And I think that also mentally affects you a little bit. I think they already saw themselves playing against France or England, and that cost them a bit. I also believe that in a game like this, the biggest absence that I thought came to be is not Ronaldo for me. It was João Cancelo. I think that João Cancelo, him not starting, was a very big decision by the manager, and he got it completely wrong. I thought it should have been Guerreiro and João Cancelo, not Diego Dalot.
Really?
And I think João Cancelo should have played this game starting, and it may be someone even like Vitinha or something like that, because you know that this team in Morocco are going to sit back down. So you need someone to be able to open up this team quickly, be able to circulate the ball quickly horizontally. And I think that is something that Portugal didn't do quite a lot. They didn't move the ball horizontally from one side to the other, and that cost them a bit.
Yeah.
What's your take, Pablo, on Portugal?
Well, I think the reason I thought they were going to do better than Spain is because I thought they were a more direct and dynamic team, so the sort of team who were going to get in behind the defence, and that is what you have to do that against Morocco, and it's maybe the hardest thing to do, but you can't. And France will have to do this as well. You can't fall into the lull that they want you to fall into, and Portugal did, and I think many teams will, like Spain did. But I mean, it's kind of like you said. I think sometimes it's worth actually going very like gung ho. We were just talking about not doing that with Argentina, but I think against Morocco it could be worth it. Like if Spain took out Busquets and just said like even Pedri or Soler, and then Olmo in like cam, and then you've got just get like Yeremy Pino and Sarabia and Morata, and then you just get attackers up there, because that will cause Morocco issues, and they like if you're just swaying it side to side like Portugal were, and you've got to go in for them. So Portugal will be massively disappointed from scoring 6 goals and thinking, yeah, we'll be able to get into Morocco here. Great chance of making the final, to then going out. I mean, they'll be devastated. They really, really will. And of course, we know the Ronaldo situation. I don't think it would have made much of a difference if he started. He doesn't seem the same at all. I really don't. I know that Georgina, his wife or girlfriend or whatever she is, was complaining and stuff, and the whole family were again. But no, I mean, come on, he hasn't proven himself enough now. So I think it was fair that Portugal went for the man who scored the hat-trick last game too.
Mm-hmm. I think that the thing is just get a goal by Morocco. That has to be your
so hard.
Your objective. Like it's so hard, but
right?
I mean, your objective shouldn't be to play good in that game. It's just like get the goal, get people who can one-on-one, left, right, have someone who can dribble the ball, get a penalty, create something, and that's why I feel we're gonna talk later on, right? But that's why I feel this matchup coming up could be interesting, because I think France are the most diverse team, for instance, in the way that they attack. And I feel that's going to hurt Morocco a bit. Yeah. But now let's move into that one, right? France versus England. And I know, Paulo, you want to start with it. So let's go ahead.
Well, I mean, England are out, so I'm happy, obviously.
Look at that smile.
He says it with a British accent.
I am shameless. But no, I mean, well, okay, let's start with England. I think for England, they will be absolutely devastated. What a brilliant chance again for them to win something, by the way. Unbelievable team.
Yeah.
If they beat France last night, they're looking at Morocco, Croatia, and Argentina in the way of a World Cup. And not to be disrespectful, but that is a golden opportunity with that group of players. They already should have won the Euros, already should have done better in the 2018 World Cup. But same issue for England when it came down for it. The second they play a half-decent team, goodbye. That's like the second they play someone of substance, goodbye. Every time. And that, I think, is what people will always have against Gareth Southgate. And I think it's fair enough. Having said that, do I think England were bad last night? No. It's kind of why I always think they will go. That's why I always bat them to go through, because in my opinion, they've got a very good team. And they're good at tournament football. But fair play to France for beating England, because England are a nightmare. But I think for England, like I was saying, this tournament, Iran, Wales, and Senegal, the three teams they've beaten, really.
Yeah, I think
it's a massive embarrassment. Again, at the end of the day, you have to say.
Yeah, England is the first team I've seen put France on the ropes. Yeah. It's the first team I've seen them do that.
That's what I mean. I imagine they would, because in my opinion, they're so strong, they're so good. They should be doing better.
Mm-hmm. Also, they nullified completely Kylian Mbappe, Walker and Henderson. Mm-hmm. Walker and Henderson stopping Kylian Mbappe. But they did the job, right? The thing is that I think if this game is played like 10 times, I think England wins 6 and France win 4. But those four cases and what we saw the other day, the thing is about France, like we're saying, they have such a diverse way of attacking and they're so clinical and they're effective. This France side is the Real Madrid of international football, like, because they managed to put the ball in so many different ways, like header, one-on-one, counterattack. No matter what happens, these players are so diverse. They all play different roles, and if you need Griezmann to drop a little bit deeper, he can do that. If you want him to join the attack, he can do that as well. You want Mbappe to be acting as the main focal point for the middle, he can do that. It doesn't matter. They all have different versatile roles, and I feel that's what really helped France in this game. And like I say, it's so clinical. Even the defense was awful. Like Theo Hernandez, he couldn't get a hand on Saka, and Upamecano was bad all around. And yeah, it's like England could have won this game, but France I guess they just put the ball in the back of the net more, and Kane missed that penalty. And I feel Gareth Southgate, maybe he could have put a little bit of a number 10 sooner. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Maybe just go for it. After the 1-1. He should have said, okay, let's go for it. And he did it.
He never does that. I'm sorry. He's an incredibly conservative manager, and that's what people have issues with him. Like, and I agree. Mm-hmm. Well, especially, I think he should walk now. By the way, he's done enough. He's done well, but they've got Thomas Tuchel on the market. By the way,
he won't go to England. There's a bigger chance that you end up being England manager than Thomas Tuchel.
That's great.
I don't even want him to take it, because that almost guarantees them a trophy. If they're this close with Southgate, imagine them with Tuchel. But he wants the job, by the way, and he knows the players and the league.
He wants the job? That's what they say?
For sure he wants the job. He loves it in England, Tuchel. He didn't want to leave Chelsea. He's just hoping he can get a new job soon. He loves it in England, Tuchel, yeah. He'd gobble up the England job, for sure.
Interesting. I don't know. We'll see. For me, England choked. Yeah. England choked here big time. Buga, you mentioned if they play this match 10 times, England wins 6, France win 4. I'll say if they play this match outside of the World Cup, England win this 8 times out of 10. But because it's the World Cup, because it's the big stage, because you needed to score a penalty and you're England, you choked. That's what seems to happen in all of these tournaments when it comes down to the penalty spot, whether it's after extra time or Harry Kane during the 90 minutes with a chance to level it. Penalties historically have knocked out England. So 16 shots, 8 on target, 58% possession, 87% passing accuracy. You got to win those matches. You absolutely have to win those matches. So poor on England. I agree with everything that you said. I think defensively, France were vulnerable. that second penalty that Teo Hernandez gave up. Like, what are you doing? What are you
so dumb.
doing there?
In my group chat, with friends, we were just like, what?
I say, I actually agree that was a foul. However, I think we see that too much. Like, for example, we've seen that actually a few times to Gavi in Barcelona. Just flatten him in the box. But because it's a shoulder barge, we never give them. But all of a sudden...
Well, that wasn't a shoulder barge. This time around, it wasn't
I agree. It's a foul. But we never give those. Why have we started giving them in the World Cup quarterfinal?
Here's what I think the difference is. I think because it was so clear with the intention, the way that Teo Hernandez took his eyes off the ball and right onto Mason Mount before a clear shoulder barge. And then Mason Mount, again, you add in that Mason Mount did not look back to see the contact coming. It was a clear, genuine whiplash that Mason Mount got. Whereas, as much as I love Gavi, it's not that he's diving, it's that he knows the contact is coming. And there may be some embellishment there, right? But I think the difference was slowing it down and looking at where the player's eyes were gazing. It just it laid a level of intention over it that I think. But to your point, though, I think you probably only get that call in the World Cup.
Yeah, I just think I like the way they gave it. Like, I didn't at the time; I was fuming, but like I like because I think it's a foul. I'm just annoyed because I think I've seen that far too many times before, and just because it's not like because it's not a kick, we don't give it. Like, even though he's rammed into him, like, but we never give those.
Yeah. There's a lot of conversation right now. Go ahead, Buga.
I was gonna say the one thing that I'm annoyed at is that I won't get the final I want.
Oh, what final did you want, you demon?
Argentina. For the Maldives.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I want to circle back to what Pablo was saying about liking that penalty was called. I'm with you on that. I would like to see more penalties called for the shoulder barges, the jersey pulling, the hands on the shoulders. There's a lot of conversation around how do we make the game more exciting? Oh, should we take it from 90 minutes down to 60 minutes? Should we do this, do that? Stop being so strict on offsides. Stop not calling fouls in the penalty box, particularly on free kicks and corners. You'll get a lot more goals. It'll be more fun for the casual viewers. That's an easy fix for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, and one last comment on France. Olivier Giroud. What a man. What a man.
As predicted.
Very, very well predicted as well. You said a header as well, didn't you? Very good. But like
I did. I got the scoreline wrong. I said 1-0 with the Giroud winner, but I header from Giroud to win it.
Very good. But like, just so impressive. Like, I think when Benzema got injured, everyone's thinking, "Oh," and they played so much better with Giroud. I've died on that hill for years, and like, I'm just happy for him. All-time top scorer, winning goals against like England. It's just that is brilliant. What a man! Like, what a man to keep doing it at that level. So that is so impressive, and he makes them better. He's scoring winners. Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Hero indeed. Okay, are we ready? I've been pulling back the reins this whole time. I know Buga in particular has been jumping on this semifinal train. So you want to kick us off then, Buga? Let's talk semifinals.
Let's go. First of all, which one should we do first?
We'll go Morocco, France first, since we just ended on France. We'll go Morocco, France.
Okay. Like I was saying, France, Morocco, best defense versus the best attack. And I want to once again say Morocco can do it, but I just see this matchup, and I think the versatility that France has in attack, for me, is just that one maybe step too far for Morocco. I don't know if they manage to keep down, like Mbappe. I feel Mbappe can be, for instance, silenced because Hakimi is there.
Yeah, Hakimi's right there. Yeah,
his friends, he matched him in speed, in physicality. They can do that. But when we talk about the other players, like a Giroud, like Dembele, like Antoine Griezmann, how can you stop that movement, circulation of the ball? For me, the one thing that France do so well, look, the very first goal that France scored against England, counterattack to Mbappe to Dembele to Griezmann to Tchouaméni. The ball went all around the pitch in like a matter of 3 seconds. And that's what really changes the game for me. Horizontally, France can move the ball as quickly as they do it vertically. And that is the one thing that Portugal, Spain never had. Because Spain has the ball to go to Gavi, the ball goes then to Pedri, and then Pedri goes to Olmo, and Olmo goes to Ferran Torres. That's how it goes. France, no, they don't care. Bang, 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 long ball, and they manage to make it work. They keep the ball ticking, and that for me is the one thing that France do so good. So Morocco, I think it may be a step too far for Morocco, even though I would love to see that final, Morocco in the final. I think that would be incredible. What Morocco have achieved already is already historic, the first African nation to ever be in a semifinal. So kudos to them. And also, I think it's even more massive because Morocco, I'm not gonna be a geographer out of nowhere, but they also have like a lot of Arab influences, right? A lot of Muslim influences there as well. Yeah. So it's like best of both worlds. You manage to tackle, and there's going to be a huge part of our world, of our planet, supporting Morocco in this one. And it's going to be a hell of a game when it comes to that. I think when it comes to the motions, to the fan base and everything in the stadium, is going to be an incredible game. And plus, France, Morocco, they also have a little bit of history. There are some very big influences there. So it's going to be interesting.
Pablo, how are you feeling going into this one?
I think France are going to struggle. I really do. Like, I almost feel bad for Morocco because like, every time I think we don't want to say they're going to go through in case we're worried that this time they'll lose 3-0. You know, this time, and then you just look like a clown. So I do think France are going to do it because of a few reasons that BUGA said, and I think they've got the profiles to switch a game like this. I think Giroud could play a big role again. He can get a goal out of nowhere. But how the game will go, I think France are going to really struggle. I just think Morocco are an absolute nightmare to play against. Why wouldn't they be confident? I'm thinking a 1-0 France here is the way I'm going to see this. And that's the only good thing about playing Morocco, I think. Like, when Spain played them, I wasn't that scared of conceding to them. That's a good position to be in a football match. So if you can score down the other end, then you should be in good shape. That's what I will say. Like, I know Spain obviously is because they only really give you like 11% possession, so make do with what you will. But because they don't have the ball so much, it's difficult for Morocco to really create anything. They got that header out of nowhere against Portugal, but so France should be confident in that way. But they've got to make sure they get the goal. I'm going 1-0 with a second half goal.
It's going to be 1-0 Morocco. Morocco's going to score in the first 10 minutes, and then it's going to be France struggling. It's going to be a frustrated Mbappe. It's going to be a frustrated Dembele. It's going to be people throwing stuff at the TV with some of the passes that they see Griezmann make. It's going to be a very frustrating match for France. I think Theo Hernandez is not going to keep up, not pace-wise, but trickiness, cheekiness with some of the play from Morocco's attack, from Ziyech, from Buffal. I think they're going to sting them early, and then I think it's going to be a long match for France, and Morocco go through 1-0.
Yeah.
Wow.
To be fair,
sorry.
Go,
Pablo. Go.
I was just going to say, to be fair, I think in one of the semi-finals, I think we get an upset.
You think?
This could be stupid, but I have a feeling I don't think it's going to be France, Argentina. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's hard to argue against, actually, particularly in a tournament full of upsets.
These guys are too good. Morocco and Croatia.
Okay. Yeah. Before we move on to Argentina, Croatia, BUGA, you have more thoughts?
I was saying, I wanted to find out when's the last time that I know the last time that a team has been able to retain the cup was back with Pelé in 58. I know that, but I wanted to see what's the last time a team has gotten maybe to the final or gotten to the semis. And because I read it somewhere that France is the first team to reach the semis, I think, since Brazil. I don't know when, but that's what I wanted to find out. But for me, do you think, guys, this France can actually repeat? Is that really what you're thinking? Because when I take a look at it, I think, for me, I do think the final may be France versus Argentina, both of them with 2 World Cups, and that will be decided. That will kind of decide a lot. I think that's where I'm looking at it. But also, once again, I'm also thinking, like Pablo, that there has to be an upset somewhere, and I'm not sure if more is he gonna. I don't know. I'm really tricky on it. I think I want to say that France beat Morocco maybe 2-1 or something like that, but I don't know. It's hard. I'm gonna go France 2-1.
France 2-1. Okay. No, I'm sticking with Morocco. I'm sticking with Morocco on this.
Before we move, do you think France can repeat?
Yeah.
Can win the title?
Yeah, I do actually.
They really
have the
good.
talent, right? They definitely have the talent. I don't like counting out any side that has Giroud in it. So like, yes, they definitely can. They definitely can. But something is telling me that Morocco, I think despite what Morocco have done, I think France are good enough that they're still going to look past them.
I'm scared because
I think that's going to cost them.
Morocco to the final. I'm scared because I want Morocco to win because I think that the one team that can beat Argentina is France. And you know who I want to win the World Cup, right?
Okay, all right. Well, hang on. Let's jump over to Argentina, Croatia then, so we can talk about a potential final if the conversation goes there. I'm thinking. So I want to circle back to something that BUGA said. I've been waiting to circle back to this. BUGA, you mentioned that Argentina maybe are going to benefit from these matches, being tested, being dragged into deep water, and having to respond, having to get themselves back to surface level. I actually think that is going to be so emotionally draining by the time that they get to late stages in this match versus Croatia, whereas Croatia have just been approaching this whole tournament with such a pragmatic mindset, just very practical, very reasonable in their approach. Little, not that there's little drama, but little emotion tied with it. Argentina, every match, their hero, his legacy is on the line. Every player there, their heart is being just poured out onto the pitch because of their love of Lionel Messi. That might actually be a hindrance in this match. I'm worried that this is from a impartial bystander. I'm worried that this is going to actually be the most boring match of the tournament. Argentina versus Croatia. I think it's high potential for a snooze fest.
I think this
both could be both semis.
Yeah. I think both could be like very, very tactical games. I think that Argentina and Croatia, I don't agree. I get what you mean, and it could totally happen. But I don't know. You know. Look, I'm gonna go a little bit political or ethical. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna talk about.
All right.
But there's a difference. The reason why I feel I'm not gonna say in South America the football is lived more. Okay, it's not. But it's a little bit more passionate because I think when you come from a country that you don't like, we grow up in South America hoping to live in the US. That's where you get your brain in that. You get the idea that living in the US is better, living in the UK is better. So you are never comfortable with what you have right now. So that gives you a little bit more ability to handle what you mentioned, that emotion, where you go like, I need that extra step. And that's something that what do you mean? I like experience when I live in the UK. Like my friends or people are like, I don't need to go live somewhere else because I already have everything I want in the UK. And like, I think that's a little bit different. And I think that sometimes, for instance, that's what makes this team so, when you can really get a team that's showing that hard work rate, I think that's what pulls through. And similar to other teams like in club football or Morocco, even right now in the World Cup, like when you are not the strongest side, or you're not the side, if you believe you're not the strongest side, you're always going to keep fighting. Like this Argentina side reminds me of like an Atletico Madrid or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a team, you are not supposed to be the best. And if you don't believe you are the best, you're going to strive for more. And I think Argentina look at themselves, and I don't think they look at themselves as the best team. That's the one thing, the difference. I think France do, for instance. I think Brazil do. Yeah. But I don't think Argentina look at themselves in the mirror and go like, we are the best team. No. I think they can only say that once they reach that final and once they lift that trophy.
Real quick, sidebar. We were talking about when's the last team that won a final and then made it back. If I'm reading this right, it looks like could it be Argentina in '86 winning over West Germany and then making it back to the final in 1990. Am I reading that right?
I think that might be it. I know Brazil made the final twice, but they lost the first, and then they lost the.
Yeah, they made it 3 times in a row. They lost to Italy in 94. They lost to France in 98, and then they won it in 2002.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I also wanted to say one more thing. There are many things happening with Argentina. Like, for instance, what was I going to say? Like, for instance, the last time there was what do you call it? You call it a coup?
Yep.
Yeah.
When the government gets dethroned. Yep. The last time there was a coup in Peru, Argentina won the World Cup.
Oh, wow.
And there was a coup like 3 days ago.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that offline, actually, because I saw that coming up. I was going to be like, BUGA, do you need to come and stay with me for a while? Or...
Argentina won. That's why I'm happy. I don't care. My country's going to shit, but Argentina's going to win the World Cup.
Absolutely scraping the bottom of the barrel to get the status out. He's brought in Peru having a...
The little known stat that dictates the World Cup winner, Peruvian coups.
Well, that's reality. Like, there are many crazy things like that. Like, for instance, the last time Argentina lost their first game and won the World Cup was when they won the World Cup in '86.
Yeah,
and stuff and crazy stuff like that. I don't know. I just want
incredible journalism from you.
You know, someone I want to point out for Argentina that I think is not getting maybe the attention he deserves. Enzo Fernandez in that center midfield position, plays for Benfica, I believe, for his club. Just of this year, 2022, joined Benfica. Just broke through. He's 21 years old. I think this is going to be his 9th cap for Argentina for the semifinal. Tell you what, put his name on the short list for a Busquets replacement at Barcelona. We could do a lot worse than bringing in what I see as someone as a Mascherano type of player.
You like Enzo, yeah, John?
Oh, I'm a big fan.
I love Enzo.
I'm a big fan.
I love Enzo.
Yeah, and it's the grittiness, it's the tenacity, it's the spirit as well. You can see that he does not cower in these big moments. He rises to the occasion. He's one of the players that I think is relieving some of that pressure from Lionel Messi. He's saying, I'll take some of that responsibility on my shoulders. So yeah, big fan of Fernandez. Would love to see him wearing a Blaugrana kit.
Rodrigo de Paul as well. He was injured in the game against the Netherlands, and he was one of the best players as well. That's what I mean. That's what I mean when talking about like every player in this. Otamendi as well. Every single player, they are fighting down to the last ball. And I want Argentina to win. And another stat for you: the last time FIFA 23 or FIFA EA Sports predicted who was going to win the last 4 times in a row, they predicted the winner, and Argentina was the winner in the prediction.
Wow. Okay.
I prefer the Peru one.
But that. Look, bro. The last time there was a coup, that was ages ago. It's not coincidence. It's not coincidence.
Okay. I love it. I love that so much. Okay, so folks, let's circle it around now. Predictions. We got Morocco, France. BUGA, who you got?
Ask me later.
Pablo, who you got? Morocco, France.
France. Oh,
all right. I'm going Morocco.
They're going to suffer though. Oh, that's tough to call. France.
All right. Argentina, Croatia. I in my heart, I want it to be Argentina. I'm not even going to say it. It's Argentina. Going Argentina.
I thought you were gonna go Croatia. We were gonna see Croatia, Morocco.
I was considering it, but I don't want to. I'm a bit superstitious, and I didn't want to speak that into existence. So I'm going Argentina.
Yeah.
Argentina, of course. Papi, che, claro.
Okay, so
Pablo,
I don't know.
Pablo? No,
I guess we'll have to wait and talk final on next episode, because I agree. Like, I'm not super confident. I'm apparently going Morocco, Argentina in the final, but it could be Croatia, France. It could be Argentina, France. It could be Morocco, Croatia, which could be I don't know, honestly, the most boring final of all time. Think
No,
about
why
if
boring?
you're Qatar. Hang on. If you're Qatar and you go into this tournament with the potential of a Lionel Messi versus Ronaldo final, and instead you get Croatia, Morocco.
But why boring? I think honestly that could be insane because like both teams have never won a World Cup, so that would be so like. Sure. I mean, on one hand, it would be so tactical because like you don't want to give anything, but then also.
So that's the thing. Let me be clear. For the people who know, right? When you know, it'll be an enjoyable game. I love watching Croatia's midfield. They could just have the ball for 90 minutes, and I would enjoy that match. But for the average viewer, for the person who's not tuning in weekly to watch football matches,
No, you're right, John. I'm sorry, that would be a bit of a disaster for Qatar, by the way. Like, and also they'd get a lot less viewers on the final than an Argentina. Mm-hmm. By the way, I think we could be seeing a repeat of the 2018 final here.
Me too. I think every single one of these teams have a chance to make it to the final. That's what I
they do.
Like before last year, it was like, I don't know. Well, I don't want to predict because I just want Argentina to win.
I know. It's up in the air. It is definitely up in the air. I think we're going to enjoy these matches. I think there's a lot to fight for. Everyone's got at least a puncher's chance in this. So we'll come back for another episode and we'll talk results. We'll talk World Cup final predictions. Any final thoughts before we wrap up here, guys?
Morocco.
That's it.
Morocco. What is Morocco doing in a semi-final, dude? Morocco, you must be so happy. My goodness. Wow. I'm watching just the bracket right now. You know, I have a bracket on my screen. I just keep watching it. And it's going like, Morocco. What the hell is Morocco doing there? But fair.
Samuel Eto's prediction.
What?
Samuel Eto's prediction of Morocco versus Cameroon.
Yeah, Samuel Eto'o. Yeah. I mean, he put who was on the other side? It was Cameroon versus Morocco in the final, I think is what he did, right?
Looking out the other side, and I'm saying that was a wonderful prediction by Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
He predicted Qatar to reach the quarterfinals.
I did say that, but I don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah. Not a great World Cup for Qatar, but it's been a fun tournament overall. Like I'm very pleased with how this tournament has played out on the pitch. Okay,
the question I wanted to one funny was rank your team in order of who you would like it to win.
Oof. Argentina.
Let's do that. Quick ranking on who do you think can win it, and what do you want? Like brain, what does your brain say, and your heart says. I'm gonna go first, so you guys can think.
Go ahead, Buga.
Head, I think France, then Argentina, then Croatia, then Morocco.
Okay.
Easy. I think that's straightforward. But then heart, I want Argentina, then Croatia, then Morocco, then France. Well, I would like Argentina to win it the most, then Croatia, then Morocco, and then
this I've got a bit of a twist here, actually.
Okay, go, Pablo.
All right. Well, let me go first, and then you come in with your twist.
No, my order is just a bit bizarre. Go
on.
Okay. My head is actually saying Croatia
to win it.
France. Yeah, just again because they're so pragmatic in their approach, so sound, so composed, and inevitably, guys, the game's won in the midfield for most of these matches, and they've got the strongest midfield in my opinion. So I'd go in my head Croatia, France, Argentina, Morocco.
Croatia, France.
In my heart, Argentina, Morocco, Croatia, France.
Yeah. My head is France, Croatia, Morocco, Argentina.
Whoa! Yikes!
Yikes!
Why? Why is Argentina so low?
My heart is Argentina, Morocco, France, Croatia.
Yeah, his head is it's that English skepticism or pessimism creeping in, I think.
I honestly think, look, if Croatia managed to win this World Cup, fair play. Like,
Sure.
because I think they deserve it more in 2018, but football is not about deserving, and they managed to get it no matter what.
Well, yeah, if you think about the run they would have had to go on, coming out second in their group, and they would have gone through Brazil and Argentina, and who knows what the final is going to be. They may have to beat France in that final. So you can't say they don't deserve it if they make that run.
Look, and if you mix this squad with the last one, let's say if you make what's the best joint squad between this squad and the one before, they have a top tier team, like top tier team. You have like Livakovic, Versalico, Lovren, Guardiol, Sosa, Modric, Kovacic, Perisic, Rakitic, Mandzukic. That's like a 5-star team right there. Like they honestly have managed to have a wonderful generation, and Croatia. Fair play.
All right, we'll see. We're going to be back Thursday morning. We'll be recording again, so that'll be released later in the afternoon. We'll talk about what happened in the semifinals. We'll do a little preview for the World Cup final and whatever else comes up conversationally here on the Engine Room podcast. So thank you for listening, everybody. We'll go ahead and wrap it up there, and we'll see you next time right here on the Engine Room.
Peace.
Bye-bye.